Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to Chasing Cupid and Poetry live in effect tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hyped, man. It's almost Friday. I don't care if it's Tuesday. It's almost Friday to me. Past Monday. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to us, Chasing Cupid and Poetry live in effect. Let me introduce you to my all-star cast, lover boy Gary Mitchell.
Yes, the one and only.
Miss Maru.
Hola, mi gente.
And you already know me. I'm Cupid, ladies and gentlemen. We're missing Rude Boy and Big Balls, but I know they're showing us love out there. And ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're talking about a topic that a lot of people are trying to handle, and a lot of people take real serious. Recognizing and handling an abusive relationship. Once again, recognizing and handling an abusive relationship. Some people stuck in it, some people don't know their way out. Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to call in. Our number is 347-637-2029. Once again, 347-637-2029. Chase Cupid and Poetry. Live in effect. Let's get into it. When it comes to abusive relationships, a lot of people only talk about relationships that come to physical abuse, but in actuality, a lot of relationships get to the point where they only are verbal, where a woman or man, because I'm not going to try to glorify only that women get abused, men get abused also.
Yeah.
Women or men are downplayed or basically belittled. For some people that don't know what belittle mean, in no way am I saying insulting your intelligence, but it belittle me as an insult, it's making you feel smaller than you need to feel, making you feel as though you're not good enough. So a lot of people, I've seen a dude actually tell a girl in a store in a supermarket, say, "Well, you ain't shit without me. So you can say what you want to say." While she was having a temper tantrum, and it was crazy how it was already in her mind. You could tell that he already trained her mind to think that that was true. Mm. And a lot of women go through that where abuse is continuous, but they don't know their way out with verbal abuse. We're just talking about verbal abuse right now. And in a woman's perspective, Maru, what do you think women go through when they find themselves accepting of that verbal abuse?
I think there may be different factors. One factor may be the fact that the woman already has a low self-esteem. Mm-hmm. And, there may be reasons for which she feels she deserves to be treated that way. Another factor may be that that is her comfort zone. And, perhaps she wants to be out of that situation, but once she's out of that situation, she may feel desperate, she may feel desperate or she may feel like she needs that in her life, because it becomes a pattern. It becomes a pattern of feeling to where it's almost like it's what makes her stable in a very weird way,
I agree, because a lot of women don't realize their worth when it comes to some cases, where they actually feel as though they deserve. All right, a lot of women are actually intimidated by a great guy, because they feel as though they actually deserve a guy lesser than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, in the same sense, a lot of men feel as though that they don't deserve a great woman.
It's almost as if, one or the other idolizes the other person, mm-hmm. as to the point they put him in a pedestal. And it's almost like, oh, I'm so lucky to have this person that I do whatever it takes to keep this person. Mm-hmm.
Especially if the person has basically a financial or secure, like basically if they have a financial hold on them.
Yeah.
If they aren't financially endowed, if that woman per se aren't financially endowed, and she's not lucky enough to have the finances that the guy has.
Yeah.
In the same sense, she's like, okay, I better not mess this up. So whatever he says, I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where she fails to fight off or tries to, because people will continuously try to ridicule or try to pass judgment if you don't put them. I mean, it's a shame to say, but if you don't put them in their place, in a sense. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts, Gary Mitchell?
I mean, well, you know what? Actually, kind of going back to what you were saying about the women being intimidated by good guys because they feel like they deserve, less. They feel like they deserve certain kinds of treatment. I think you're absolutely right about that, because I've encountered that where women have, I treat them a certain way. I believe in chivalry. So, I'll still open doors, still pay for things, still say my please and thank yous, and be a gentleman. And I feel women have actually looked at me like, okay, like, what's the catch here? What's the ulterior motive? And they actually get afraid for that. But, like you said, a lot of times people think that, abuse in a relationship is just physical. It's not just pushing and hitting and grabbing and scratching and all that stuff. A lot of times, especially when you're in a public environment like the scenario that you mentioned, someone can put you down amongst friends, and it really destroys your self-esteem. I mean, I think we've all been in situations where we've seen, where we've been neighbors to someone who just fought, and then you see someone's stuff thrown outside, or you see somebody getting, somebody try to walk out and then they have things thrown at them or getting cussed out as they go to the car or something like that. Like that's abuse right there. Like, cause it's like one thing when you argue, we all argue with someone that we care about.
Yeah.
But it's one thing when you argue and you put them down. In the process, you destroy their character. You tell their business. Like women, like, okay, I'm being funny here, but it's like, that's why you got a little dick anyway. It's like it's things like that. It's
they quick to say that.
So things like that. It's just it's crazy, but I don't know.
You know what else comes into play? I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
Growing up in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when somebody grows up in that situation, there's one of two choices to make. And one is to follow that pattern, or the other is to not stand for it, and and even get to the point where you feel you don't trust another man or another woman, depending on the sex that it was. So I think it's a dangerous thing, to get into, especially when you have children, because you don't want to show that example to the kids, whether it's a boy or a girl, because you don't want the boy to be abusive or be abused, or that for your daughter as well. It's very dangerous.
So it comes into the play. Which one is more hindered? I mean, I'm not trying to say that one actually you should have one better than the other.
I'm sorry.
In no case, like as in which one is more hindrance of physical abuse or verbal abuse? Because the verbal abuse is more mental.
I'm not even going to try to weigh either one.
No, I think they both have serious repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
I think all kinds of abuse have serious repercussions, and I don't think that one is heavier than the other.
Yeah.
One can be heavier physically, and the other one is heavier mentally, but I think that they weigh equally.
See, I am not actually advocating any type of abuse. I am not. Once again, I don't even believe laying your hands on a female, period. And a woman laying her hands on me, period.
Exactly.
And we're going to get into that, too. I want to get into that because that's real big on abuse. But when it gets into physical and verbal, I actually think physical is it's not I can't say less abusive. But in the long run, I don't think she would get, or the person would have so much longevity of effect on them. Because physically you can always heal, and physically your mindset is still, you shouldn't be touching me. But to have your mindset put as, okay, you're a dog, you're down, you this, you're that, you have to build yourself up mentally, and then mentally, if you're messed up mentally, you'll always be thinking above, okay, if you're like him, or if you're like her, or they'll always be on that catch mentally.
I beg to differ.
Yeah, I understand.
Right, because if somebody lays his hands on me, continuously is abusing me, if they're continuously abusing me physically, then that will have a long-term repercussion, because...
I mean continuously. I mean if someone put their hands on you right now, and instead of trying to, like, for example, if a guy put his hands on you right now, I would think, okay, you're strong mentally. You're still strong mentally, so you'd be like, hey, not what the hell wrong with you? That's only going to happen once.
Right.
Plain and simple. If he says something mentally and he continuously, I guess, batter you down.
Well, that's the thing, though, because you can't just say, like to make your point, you can't just say, well, if he only hits you once, you're not going to take it. But if when it comes to psychologically, he's continuously putting you down, then you can't, that's not really a fair question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're asking if he's continuously beating you versus continually putting you down psychologically, then maybe we can talk about that. But when you're just saying just hitting once, then that's different because that's it. I'm out. But I guess to kind of make it like a fair question, in considering the physical abuse or the psychological abuse, both, let's say they were both held for a certain amount of time equally, then I think that they both are just as dangerous as, they're both as dangerous, because when you think about the physical aspect of it, it's not just physical, because like when you're getting hit continuously, that becomes mental as well. So you're going to live with that. And it's going to be hard for you to trust another person, not knowing whether they're going to hit you or slap you if you're going to argue about something, and if you don't agree about something, you don't know if you're going to get slapped or not. You don't want somebody to even touch your hand, like want to hold hands, because you may have that, you know what I mean? Like you're still maybe traumatized.
Yeah, you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. Think about it this way with a dog. When you're trying to train a dog, you can. No. I'm not calling anybody a dog. No, but I'm saying, like, think about a dog's reaction where you take a rolled up newspaper, the dog barks at some no, not even, it just pees on the floor or something like that. You take the newspaper, whack it upside the head or something like that, and then all of a sudden the dog knows not to do that anymore. See, that the physical abuse actually transcends into mental abuse as well. Because, like, they're afraid to get hit, they're afraid of certain things, so it actually changes their reactions to how they deal with situations with a lot of people. Because, like, with a woman, think about it this way: if a woman gets into a situation, not even just say a continuously abusive relationship, but let's just say she's in a relationship with a guy who hits her 3 times, and she has those bruises, when she goes out with somebody else, she's going to be afraid to invite him into her home or go to his home.
Mm-hmm.
The physical contact that they have is going to take a little bit longer depending on the level of fear that she had from the other relationship. So it does have a reaction, which is why I can't say that one is worse than the other. But I do agree with you that when you are mentally broken down, that it really
Mm-hmm.
it really becomes a process to love yourself.
Let me ask you a question. How do y'all feel about that one thing that some people said, that when it comes to a physical abuse,
Mm-hmm.
the first time you get hit, you're a victim. The second time you get hit, or the second time the occasion happens, you are participating.
I believe that's BS.
I don't believe that either. I do think that.
You understand why they say that?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no, but then again.
Let me explain
Okay, go ahead.
to the listeners. When they say the first time you get hit, it's an experience where you are shocked. It just happens where, okay, whoa, this is something new. It's processed. The second time you get hit is when you actually choose to stay or you feel forced to stay in the relationship, and you get hit again because you thought it wouldn't happen again. So everyone says you participated because you chose not to get out of that situation. But go ahead, Mike. Oh no, she was talking. That's why.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking about something. Because you know what, I really feel strongly about that saying and this particular subject, for the simple fact that I had this girl that I kind of wanted to date in high school, but it just never worked out. Well, not in high school. I knew her in high school, and we met afterwards, and we almost dated, but it just didn't work out. I remember we caught up years later, and she had a child with this guy. After they had the child, he became very, very, very abusive. Like she said, "Oh, you got pregnant trying to trap me." He hit her a few times. It was just it was verbally and abusive. He said it just all kinds of stuff. And the reason I have a problem with they saying, okay, you participating, you're letting it happen, you didn't get out, is because you're not thinking about the person that just hit you. You're thinking about the person you knew. You're thinking about the person you fell in love with, the person you cared about, the person you shared a friendship with. And you think, okay, when they hit you, that it's just a matter of what's going on right now. So it's not fair to say, oh, you're just letting this happen, because it's not like these when people get into people are abusive. No one goes into a relationship saying, hey, when we start dating, I'm gonna whoop your ass, right? It's a gradual thing that happens.
Right.
They make you, they seduce you into loving a attractive person, both inside and outside. And then once you're in there, it's just like a spider. That's when they strike. Once you're already caught in the web.
It's actually a cycle. There's actually a very known cycle for it.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Miss Madu, what you were going to say earlier.
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Nah, it gets to a point. Okay. When honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you. It does get to a point where I do actually, in some way, agree with that statement. A lot of people would go against me with that statement, but it gets to a point where I do agree with it. It gets to, if you get hit in a situation and you see the man, if you see the man hits you and you're already empowered, it is a slippery slope. Women have to understand that a man will slowly, basically, and he actually puts his dominance onto you. He'll start backing you against the wall. He'll start talking you down and able to actually break you down physically. First, he has to break you down mentally, where he has to know, I can't lay my hands on her, and she won't leave. In most cases, so it gets to a point. If she does get hit, I think she should actually realize it and realize that he's gonna do it again. To hit somebody, to hit a woman, it takes a lot. If you actually consider yourself
when you say take a lot, what do you mean?
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it takes a lot to me.
To you. That's the thing.
It gets to a point where if you think it's easy to hit a woman and he just does it that quickly or in that just with something not even verifiable, you should realize he's going to do it again. So in a sense, yes. In a way, I do agree with that statement. I do agree with.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I do agree with the first time you are a victim. I even give you the first two times. You're a victim.
The thing is that once you let it happen a certain amount of time, you're already psychologically, like, mentally broken down.
Yeah, but
so, and I'm not saying that there's an excuse. I'm not saying that, poor girl, I feel so sorry for her. I mean, or the other way around. But reality is that it happens more, one way more than the other. But the thing is that it's so much easier said than done, because it's not just like you just meet somebody and they bust you upside the head and you're like, I'm not gonna take it. This is this is somebody that you spending time with, that you love, that you have deep conversations with, or are intimate with, and you become vulnerable, because when we're in a relationship we become vulnerable to each other. And so I think that's one of the hardest things when when you're with somebody and they begin to show signs of abuse, little by little. I think that when you are mentally stable and those signs are there, like progressively, I think that at least in my case, like at least now, I can talk about my story maybe a little later in the show when I was younger, but at least mentally now, I know that if I saw the signs, let's say, in front of friends or something, he put me down in front of friends, or if we got into an argument, he kind of like just grabbed my arm. Like, to me, those are signs. And then I already know that that I would know what I would have to do, and it would be to get out of that relationship, no matter how I felt. But sometimes not everybody in a relationship is stable. Not because we don't know their past, and we don't know what their insecurities are, what their self-esteem is like. So they're, to be presented with something like this slowly, it's almost like a subconscious thing, like almost like subliminal, but not really.
Yeah, and you were gonna say something?
Yeah, just to kind of comment on the point that you made earlier. You have to, like, I understand what you say. I understand where you say, why you say you don't, why you do agree with
right.
that. But where I disagree is that you have to look. There's exceptions to every rule. I understand this, but then you're talking about most commonly there's a cycle of abuse that happens before the actual physical portion of the abuse comes into play. But the thing is, you have to understand the situation that those are most commonly involved in. Most physical abuse cases come within the confines of their own home. So if you're talking about leaving somebody that you've already built a home with, that you already have your life settled up here, it's not easy just to pick up and move your own life. You got a situation because a lot of times you don't have the support system that you really need. You know, you can talk to somebody, but think about a time where, I'm not going to say you, but you know somebody who, well, I mean, I think we've all known somebody who's gone through an abusive relationship, both male and female.
I dated one. That's hard.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to get out of those, but then at the same time, it's even harder to talk about them.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, and it's hurtful, it's shameful.
Yeah.
You know, women feel, at least, you know, because I've known many women, and I've kind of been there as well, you know, it's a shameful thing. Like, you don't want to admit it.
But you know, going back, like we're talking about women, think about guys.
Especially.
When guys get hit in a relationship, again, like I wouldn't take it. I'm out. Like, or well, she's out. But like you said, Q, same thing. But think about most guys. If a guy gets slapped upside the head or something like that, it doesn't hurt us as much as it hurts a woman.
Physically.
You know? Yeah, physically. So men are actually more prone to take the physical abuse, than women are.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and this is a question for both of you, and the listeners. I mean, call in and honestly, if you actually feel, I'm asking this question, and if you actually feel that you are justified to doing so, feel free to call in. You don't have to say your name. I ain't gonna judge you. It's all on you. Do you think a man is ever, I know y'all gonna answer quickly, but just take your time. Each one of y'all, just tell me your points of view. Do you think a man is ever justifiable or allowed to lay his hands on a woman? I'm wait. I want to hear you, Gary, but let me hear Miss Maru.
No.
Ever?
No, I think because of the nature of our anatomy, of our physique, you know. But I do feel that if a woman is hitting on a man and he needs to defend himself, I mean, choke her up a little bit or something to get her off your back, you know what I mean? Or, like, push her against the wall and do whatever you gotta do. But, like, to, like, blows and blows, like, I'm not saying that a woman should.
Because some women will try to hit a dude.
Oh, of course.
Like she's a dude.
But I don't feel that
For real.
I don't feel that either one is acceptable at any point in time, ever.
Okay.
But, you know, if it is happening where, you know, the woman is beating the guy, for the most part, right, men are stronger physically, bigger physically than women. There are other exceptions, right? But I feel that, you know, a way that he can get out of that situation is, you know, all right, grab her by the arms and push her against the wall and then just kind of like, you know, get out of that situation. But to kind of like go, you know, just rumble with a girl, I think is kind of dangerous, you know?
How about you, Loverboy? I know you don't want to taint anything, so
no, I mean, thoughts? I'll be completely honest. Offensively, no. Defensively, there are very few exceptions. Because I'm not gonna. Yeah, I do agree with Maru. There's no reason why a guy should go toe to toe with a woman. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, she hits him 5 times. All it takes is one good punch from a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah.
That's all it takes.
Mm-hmm.
But the average guy, I should say.
Yeah.
But there are situations, dangerous situations, where women do pick up knives or situations like that. In that case, now when I say lay hands on a woman, I mean when you take her, you remove the weapon from her hand if you can, and if she's like, depending on the situation.
Let's be honest. A woman coming at you with a knife.
Yeah, I know.
And you think you're just gonna grab her to make her drop that thing?
No, I mean,
you can like twist her arm and you know what I mean.
A knife?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can, because think about it.
Have you ever fought somebody with a knife? I fought with a guy with a knife and knew
that's different.
Grabbing his hand was
I know,
not an option.
But
that's a little different.
You're fighting a guy.
Just waving it.
You're fighting a guy, though.
No, I'm just saying, like, if I can imagine
well,
a guy.
that's true, because women can be kind of
exactly.
crazy
They can be
and
quick.
like,
So you're telling me trying to grab her arm?
No, when I'm saying try if you can, but if there's a situation, then
Mama said knock you out. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
No, but in reality, that is a scenario where you would be me personally, I would have to justify a guy who did that.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about your life too. It's her life at stake, and then there's some cases where the kids are involved too. Like, I mean, this is probably gonna sound so bad. Now, please, audience, please understand me when I say this. But if I'm in a situation where I'm with my partner, right, and then she just gets mad for just goes outrageous for absolutely no reason or reasons that aren't justified and picks up a knife and attacks me while their children are near me, then
you getting knocked out.
I might have to do it. I'm sorry. Like, it's like that's not gonna be my go-to. I will try to talk to her, but if she's swinging like crazy and she's trying to burn everything down like Left Eye, I'm sorry. Like, she gonna have to take one.
Take one for the team. You gonna learn today.
Exactly. And I'll call the police and I'll say it is what it is.
All right, let me run this scenario by you, and because this happened to me. I know we got to go to break. A girl was in a club with me, and she actually thought that she could actually. She threw her drink on me first because I bumped into her by mistake. I said, "Oh, my bad." I was in a hood club. I'm not gonna lie. I was in a hood club. I bumped into her. She was like, "Oh," I was like, "Oh, my bad." She threw her drink on me. I was like, "Come on, bro. It ain't even that serious." This girl actually swung. She just swung. And now she ain't talk. She ain't say nothing. She just swung. And this is a girly girl, like dress. She actually swung. I kind of dodged it. I looked at her like, "Are you serious? You really think you can fight me?" And she actually, I literally said, "You really think you can fight me?" And then she said, "Oh, I ain't scared of you." It was a hood club, so N-word. I ain't scared of you. I'll whoop you up. I was like, "Is this girl for real?" And her friend jumped in front of her and said, "Yeah, we'll whoop you. We'll whoop you." And I was like, "Is these two girls for real?" And the bouncer came and he said, "Yo, what you did?" Blah, blah, blah. So he kicked me out because I got swung. Now, I didn't hit the girl.
Yeah.
I just basically said, "Are you serious? You really think you can fight me?" And they pulled me out of the club. But when we come back, I know we got a guest. We got a great guest, a poet, Bird. But I'm gonna ask this question. We're gonna come back to this. In a situation like that, a lot of men get in trouble because a woman is the aggressor, and he is literally trying to defend himself.
Right. Whether
he balls up, whether he backs up, but because he tries to protect himself, he's going off to jail. He's getting kicked out.
That's true. He
gets situations like, "What the hell did I do? I didn't do nothing. She just thinks she can fight me. That's it." But ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with a great poet that, man, he has a lot of things that he's hit society's thoughts very hard. Hopefully he'll hit us with a poem. Once again, we'll be back. Chasing Cupid and Poetry, live in effect. We're talking about abusive relationships. Chasing Cupid and Poetry, live in effect. Once again, you're here with us. Tonight, we have the pleasure of actually having a poet by the name of Bird. So conscious about society's thoughts. It's every poem. It makes you think about what you think about. What's up, Bird? How you doing?
What's happening, bro? I'm blessed to be here, man. I appreciate y'all for having me, by the way, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. It's a pleasure because honestly, when I heard your poems, I was like, God, please. When it was a certain poem that you said something about, the jail cells or the prisons is going to be the new universities. I think it was such.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, and it had me thinking like, oh, what the hell? It's like, man, that's real though. It hit so hard. So I'm asking you, like, where do you get your inspirations from?
You know, it's more or less from everything I see. You know, that goes on around me, and that'll be different. You know, so the name is Bird the Rebel.
Yeah.
And a rebel I'm really a rebel towards not being what everybody else is doing. You know, you got the rappers and some poets who talk about sex, and the rappers who talk about getting money. But what about education?
Yeah.
What about real life issues that's going on? You know, I'm that voice that you're not gonna like me because I'm gonna stop your money if you're not telling the truth. So that's where I get my inspiration from. You know, like I'm serious. I'm not doing that. You put me in a church, they're gonna kick me out.
Yeah.
So the rebel is exactly what it is, man.
So where did the name come from?
Well, you know, it's funny because when I first did a poem, I was 9 years old, and it was a little corny line, and this girl, she was like, "Man, that's real fly."
The
man.
girls always the inspiration.
That was it, and I had a little self-esteem issue. So, to be honest, I nicknamed myself, which later on my homies cracked me to this day because they're like, "Man, you can't nickname yourself, man. Somebody got to give you one." So, the truth, that's where it come from.
Yeah.
So, I just took it and ran with it. I'm like, yeah, I'm fly like a bird. So, I was like 9 years old and I kept saying it, and it just stayed. So,
where are you from?
I'm from Miami, but I live all over, from Homestead to Miami Gardens. So, I moved around.
If you can say, because you said you pay attention to everything around you, what's the biggest problem right now? What's the biggest problem right now with what's happening in the world, or in just because you grew up in Miami?
Yeah.
And what's the biggest problem right now that you see that hits your poem so hard that you want people to actually hear and listen to?
It all depends on like what's going on, how I'm feeling, what inspires me. But more or less than anything, I do a lot of conscious writing about everyday issues, about the lack thereof of the education, of the knowledge that's out there, about things that are inside of books. I heard a poet say the other day that the search engine is the new library. And it had me thinking like, man, he's so right. Yeah. And they don't put everything that you need to know in Google and Yahoo, but if you go in your library and you find a book and you read, you will find so much what's going on. So, I think it's they're not giving us, the news not going to tell you everything.
No, they're not.
They only going to cover certain stories.
Yeah.
They ain't going to cover that blue collar crime.
Yeah.
So I get inspired to try to go ahead on and pass the message out. I spit on the train in the middle of 95. Just say go, and I go.
Oh.
So anywhere I can get it on.
That's what's up.
I was going to say go, but go ahead.
Yeah. Tell me this, because it seems to me that you are actually in your atmosphere when you decide to use your wisdom and knowledge of experiences and situations. At what age or at what point in your life did you decide that I'm going to be the voice? Because it takes a lot of bravery to actually go out there and speak with your mind. And it takes even more bravery to speak the things that nobody wants to talk about but they want to hear about. So, like, at what point in your life did you determine that, okay, I am the voice, and my voice matters?
You know what? I always stood for it. I'm gonna go on the front of the line. I'm a firm believer that you got certain people are born for certain reasons. Somebody had to be Judas. At the end of the day, for the prophecy to be fulfilled, somebody had to be Judas. That wasn't a bunch of people saying, "I'll be Judas, the greatest trait in the world." But you have followers. Some people born to be followers. Some people born to be leaders.
Yeah. But
I've always been a leader. But I just because I was a rebel then, so what if you're a rebel? You're nothing if you don't have a purpose.
Yeah.
So what's a rebel without a purpose? So I've always been talking as a young kid. I'm out loud to the people, and I'm bigger, so people tend to listen. But I wasn't really saying, I wasn't using it for the right things. Probably until I got to college. And I had a professor who said that, you pay all this money to come to school, and you don't even ask no questions in class. You don't even know if what I'm teaching you is true.
You went to that higher learning school?
For real?
Hey, I should have went there.
That don't sound like Lawrence Fishburne.
For real.
I should have went there to start off. But it started in college. A lot of people, when you go to college, you find yourself. Some people change their major over and over, but you really find out who you are. And you're around a different atmosphere. So it made me want to learn more and do more. So I changed, and I started to read. And I was just like, you know what, man? Speak on what you know instead of just talking to talk, because anybody can talk.
Yeah.
And before I had people following me, but I was a follower myself. And, we so blinded by the prelude to where anybody can be a leader, but it's who you got following you. So you got to understand the difference between a leader and a follower, and make sure that you actually following the leader and not a follower.
Yeah. No, you're right.
That can happen. So, I transcended in college after seeing a bunch of different things.
I'm curious, what was your major?
Political science.
Really? I would think philosophy.
No, it was political science.
You know what? A lot of people who turn to philosophy or who become philosophical actually never go into it.
Yeah, I was just like, I've seen them because I'm thinking of a professor that would say that. What do you remember the professor that would say that? What he taught?
Anthony Fraser, American History, 8 o'clock to 8:50, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. No, not the first time. You know, that 8 o'clock class, you know, everybody want the early schedule. Yeah. So not the first semester. I didn't pass the first, but it was a blessing, though. You know, it was a real blessing.
See, what's my question is, all right, when you spitting on the mic, right, on stage, what's something, because some poets actually wait for that, ooh, oh. so like are you going for that with each punchline, or like you going for the whole ordeal?
Man, they can keep their rewinds, their all rights, their lights, their cameras. I don't need none of that, man. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been listening to poetry since like 2005. And last year was the first year I decided I'm gonna start speaking. Mm-hmm. So I'm not new to this, but I'm new to the whole stage atmosphere. Oh, okay. But when I was talking with Johnson earlier, I told him, I was like, your poem, it meant a lot, and I could tell it came from your heart. Yeah. So when I write from the heart. So when you write from here, you don't care about the say it again, rewind. You're gonna have that one person who thinking like you, and they're gonna come approach you after the show, or they'll rewind you within the show. So whenever it's a difference with your writing style. When you writing for punchlines, you can't go through your poem right because you're like, damn, that ain't go over. Yeah. They ain't catch that. But when you write from your heart, you don't care. Yeah. So the whole poem is a punchline.
Question. So Bird Sanders, why Bird Sanders the poet? Why not Bird the rapper? Why not Bird the politician? Why not Bird the teacher, the professor?
You know, we all teachers, man. We all teachers. I don't get paid to do it, but you know, the politician aspect of it, never. Because once you're a puppet then. Because once they can contain your message, hey man, we paying you basically required. We're giving you a good job. What you saying, yeah, we're gonna help with the urban housing developments at our pace though. But you're getting 75,000, 80,000 a year from where you first came from at with 25,000. So just be cool and accept.
Can I ask you about something when it comes to that?
What?
All right, because nobody likes the state that their country is in, right? Nobody likes their politicians, or government. Nobody likes that. Doesn't matter what country you're in. Nobody really likes that. But my question is this, right? Because the reason that nobody likes these politicians is because the wrong people are in there. So if people like you, conscious people, people who really care about educating the people, who really care about doing something for the community, if those were the people who were going into politics, then don't you think that the state of the world would be different? The state of a country would be different? Because if I was to think, because if I was to think, you know what, like, let's say I have what it takes to be, up on stage or up on a podium and talk to people and make these laws or help move these laws or whatever. I don't really know, terminology for that. But let's say I was in a position or I was, had the potential to be one of those, but I'm like, I don't want to be a politician. I don't want to be dirty like them. Why not? Why do I not want to step up and change the game? Now, if more people thought like that, with the amount of people that can educate and can inspire and can motivate and empower, then the state of our governments would change.
Man, this America we talk about, man. Anything that's right. Well, hold on, listen. When in Rome, you do as the Romans do, right? So when you're a politician, when Obama first gave his speech, when John Kerry was running for president, when he got on, everybody knew who he was from that speech. Yeah. He had all these beautiful views about things he's going to do, change. But when you get into that seat, he actually has no power. So when you become a politician, you really don't have no say-so. You can have all the brilliant ideas you want, but you're not in the streets no more. Your real politicians are your Joe Clarks.
Because they are the minority, though.
Well,
because they are the minority, but once you can become a majority, things can change though. Because once you can put the pressure on those who are not doing well, then you can really change something.
But everybody, you know what? All your local mayors and aldermen, they started off with that fire and that passion, right? But you know what changes it? What takes away from the passion and the fire? When the dollar gets involved. When money gets involved, people lose that interest. Hey man, they're basically paying you to shut up your message. So how many people you got to say, man, all four of us, we can be the majority. somebody gonna turn at the end of the day. People don't stick together like how they used to. So being a politician, you can change laws without being in a house seat. You go ahead on and you enact on it. You get people behind you. You know, the sad part about it is the politicians stick to what they first was trying to do at the beginning. We want it'll be the House will be a majority. You know, and the ones who actually want to do right, they suppressed. Hey man, go in that office and work on this bill. Go do this. They don't let them get out that closet. So it's hard to break the parameters of that. So I just choose to go the opposite route.
Damn! that boy done got out of that hot seat like, yo, this seat ain't hot to me. This is cold. What's up, Maru? Bring more pressure. What's up? Nah, I ain't gonna lie. You was hitting them kind of, I was like, oh, snap. Right hook, left hook. He was like, nah, I'm in this.
I had that same mindset at first. Like, you know, I'm going to change it through this way. But then when you try to do it the right way, you understand, wait, man, they shutting me up. And when it's just you, the minority, as a politician, no one has your back. It's like, man, you know what? Forget it, man. You know, I'd rather do it the underground way, give it the message to the streets. And my purpose is, I know I'm not going to be here to watch the benefits of my label. Yeah. But I got this little 5 or 6 year old who I can change his mindset of, and he won't be indoctrinated. So he'll probably get into that house seat and be like, okay, it's 12 of us. We'll change it. But a lot of politicians and people who have the motive to do right, they fall off because they like, I ain't gonna get to be able to see what's going on, man. Forget it.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's.
You ever seen that picture that circulates the internet? And I can't remember the quote, but it's a picture. It's like it's a cliff, and it's like the masses, and then there's like that one leader, and he's at the edge of the cliff. Yeah. But then like you see the masses in front of that supposed leader, and he's like he could fall out. Like they could just push him like a little bit, and he'll fall off. You know what I mean? And I really feel that when we think like, man, you know, there's nothing we can do because I already know how the system works. I know how the system works too, and I hate it. I literally hate it. But when you see images like that, it really makes you think like, man, like you know what's holding us back is fear. As much as you say, as much as we can all say, you know, man, I'd rather do it this way because I already know how the system works. You know what holds us back is fear.
But then again, I say fear to a certain degree, and like I told Johnson, we suppress ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. We enslave ourselves in our minds.
We have this mindset of, man, they ain't gonna let this black man get in here and do this, or they ain't gonna let me do that, man. They gonna stop me. And then when you got those who break the parameters of it, they actually get in there, they get corrupted, or their mindset get changed, and they give up on the mission. So I mean, you know, it's gonna really take a bunch of like hard-working people to say, you know what, I'm willing to sacrifice the fact that I'll never be able to see the black people actually get that air quote unquote 40 acres in a mule. But I'm gonna do what it takes for us, for the minorities, to actually see it. But I won't be here to get it. So they give up on it, and the dream dies. So I mean, you know, politics. Hey, I don't got no problem with them. But at the same time, I mean,
yeah, no, I feel you.
I see them on the street.
I feel you because
hey, I keep going. I don't care.
I know what you mean.
I have a question for you. Because I have 2 questions. I have one question and I have a follow-up question. How do you feel about speaking out through social media? Through Twitter, Facebook, however it is that you interact with your audience. Like, how do you feel about that?
You know, it's funny because if I just wrote a poem over something like this. And a little piece of it say, you know, dang, Bird, though your message was heartfelt, niggas still ain't gonna get it. You gotta say some ignorant shit to keep their attention. And I say, and he said, do it for the ignorance. I say, I ain't gonna do it.
Oh.
He say, do it for the ignorance. I ain't gonna do it. But see, something as simple as that, they pay attention. You know what I'm saying? So when I use the media outlet, I gotta break it down on their aspect to get them to pay attention to it. You know what I'm saying? So I make it beneficial towards me.
Okay.
Wow.
So,
go ahead.
So I'm glad you answered it that way, because my follow-up question is this. Because we've actually talked about this. Chasing Cupid and Poetry is in complete agreement that today's society is, there's a limited attention span with society, with the way the youth is. There's too many distractions going on. Even now with television, as it is, you know, people are quick to watch a 30-second Vine video than they are watch television. That's how much we get bored with things. So if you know that social media is actually the most powerful instrument to reach the masses, and you know for the simple fact that there is a certain degree of ignorance involved with that mask, then what's your motivation to continue to speak out and to inspire?
I just simply know that this shall pass too. You know what I'm saying? Like, eventually, people gonna get tired of Facebook. It was MySpace at first.
Yeah.
Black Planet.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? This gonna go past too. But I utilize it to my benefit, and I keep headstrong. Like, when this leave, these tight jeans, the skinny jeans, I call them Peter Pan pants. You know, seriously. You know,
I'm not even gonna touch that.
Hey, nobody copyright that. I say that.
But you know, I'm just saying, like all. I'm not saying it's your opinion, but all ignorant trends about people using social media for the wrong aspects, putting up videos of them and their significant other doing crazy things or hitting their kids. You know, you all media attention can be good media. It all depends on how you spend it. But when it passes, people gonna want to hear some real things. They don't want to hear this dumb stuff out there. Wow, do it for the vine. It's gonna get played out. So I just stay strong. Like, you know what? It's sad that do it for the vine got way more followers than I do, and I'm just trying to get people to do it for their minds or do it for their kids, you know. But they rather watch some ignorant people do some ignorant things, and they get 16 billion likes and stuff. But I keep strong. Like, you know what? It's gonna pass. They're gonna come around.
So would you transition? I mean, I hear your poems and you flow so hard. Would you transition to rap?
I can't rap to save my life. I don't understand, man. I can't rap to save my life. And that's because, you know, I had a homie tell me, he was like, man, that ain't your thing. You know what I'm saying? You're a passionate person with your words. You're not trying to do it to a beat. You know, and he can write good. He can rap. But he can't do poetry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I done tried rapping. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I get in my zone now. Hey, I try to rap my poems, but no, it don't go, man. I can't rap.
All right. So let me ask you a question about the topic tonight is on, because you're mentally open and you see what's happening in society. So tonight the topic is abusive relationships, how they're handled and how it's seen. So what's your opinion on abusive relationships in a sense?
I don't care what the situation is. I don't care. They don't know if. There's no reason for a man, and I'm being sexist right now, because more domestic violence actions happen on the man's aspect. There's no reason for a man to hit a woman. If you can walk away, if you can run away, you're not less of a man.
Yeah.
But we indoctrinate our kids' mind with, man, don't let nobody hit you. You hit them back.
Yeah.
Or we say the ignorant things like, why you acting like a girl?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or stop crying like a girl.
Yeah.
So we have this masculinity about us, and then you have some kids who grow up without a dad or abusive mother, so they transcend it onto their spouse. And does it make it right? Not at all. I don't care what your situation, because you too can have a daughter, or that's somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, or eventually somebody's mother. So I don't care what goes on. I had a girl try to hit me before. You know, I kept walking away. And she came at me with like a DVD player or something. And like clocked me across the head.
With a DVD player?
Yeah, this was old, but it was college. This was college. You know, I was cheating. So,
at least he admit he was cheating.
I was cheating. So and you know, when they angry, they grab whatever. I'd rather that than a knife.
That's when you call up.
I was like, hey man, chill. So when she clocked me, and in the instant, you know, we angry.
Yeah.
I grabbed her and I shook her, and I'm like, hey, stop. My mom always said, walk away, run away. If you can't, don't let them hurt you or mess you up. Shake them up enough so they can be okay and calm, and then you exit.
Yeah.
She said it's 1,000,001 strategies to get away from hitting a woman. But then it's vice versa, because you got some women who, I remember my cousin, here it is, you know, her and her boyfriend together, he beat her up. I get involved. I'm like 12. He clocked me in the eye. Bam. I get a black eye. And like 2 days later, they back together.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, so it's crazy, because some women, they go back to that situation. So it's like, man, how do you really help this, man?
You brought up a great thing right there. I mean, let me ask, lover boy. Let's say you had a good friend, a female friend.
Yeah.
And I'm asking my other too, because he stated it. But I'm asking, what would you do if you're in a situation where a girl actually is getting abused, and she comes to you and says she's getting abused? Would you actually try to, I mean, it sounds bad, would you try to be that protection for her and be like, you know what, I'm going to go talk to him, or I'm going to go get her out of the situation? Or let's say you're at her house and he comes over. Would you try to be like, listen, she don't want to be around you. Would you be that protection for her?
No question about it.
Okay.
Because if she dies, I can never live with myself.
Okay, you would say you're trying to be that protection for
I've
her.
actually done that.
Okay. Miss Maru.
I've been there.
Would you do you think it's justifiable for a man to do that? Like,
to be that yeah. I
Ladies and gentlemen, Cupid is pumping his chest out like he got diarrhea.
I don't know if justifiable is the right word.
Yeah, it isn't.
Right, but I would understand why a man would want to do that. However, if he is witnessing firsthand, that the man goes and he beats the woman, you want to go and defend that, right? And try to like put him to the side. You don't necessarily want to fight with the dude, but if it gets to that, then I don't know. But when she's coming to you like, this is what's going on, you advise her, and from then on, to be honest with you, even if I was in that situation and I wouldn't want it, but I would expect it, you leave it alone. You leave it alone.
Wait, I want to hear his first.
Wait,
I'm going to get back to you.
All right.
Don't be trying to change your answer.
Yeah,
No, I'm not changing. No, I'm not changing.
No. Wait.
Oh, we got a guest. You want to act all brand new?
She ain't on your team tonight, Gary. So, bro, what would you, in your mindset, what's a smart thing for a man to do in your opinion?
I mean, I'll take the approach of the piggyback off what he said. He said he would interject because he couldn't live with himself if she was deceased, died. But as a parent, I would tell my son, listen, man, if she comes to you like this, talk with her, tell her, hey, I'll help you get away from this situation. But you got to be committed to get away from it. Because at the same aspect, my son steps in, he dies, I can't live with myself knowing, and then she goes back to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they married happily ever after, or whatever. He goes to jail, and she's still in love with him in jail, and my son gone. So you got to tell yourself or your child, whoever you having a conversation with, hey man, you got to think wisely. Choose when to get involved and when to physically get it. Now, if it happens in front of you, son, don't let him do this to her. If you got to die like that, you die honorable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I accept that, son. Because hey, what if he would have killed her? But going over there arguing with the dude, nah, bro.
Yeah, I feel like I feel that that's their business, and you can give her options. Here are the options. These are the places that you can go for help. You can talk to me anytime, but you have to want to make that change.
Yeah.
And you're giving the person the options, and if they don't want to take it, then you know what I mean.
I mean, it's easy. You just tell them straight up. You find out if they wanna help themselves by, hey, you want to go to the cops? And if she say no, forget it. I mean, she's going back.
Yeah.
She's still
definitely.
with it. That's easy.
Definitely.
If she want to go, let the cops interject, take them to jail, because domestic violence, that ain't playing.
That thing real.
Exactly. And now, before, they took the discretion out of the police officer's hands. Before, if you two got into an altercation, the officer had the discretion to say, okay, who was wrong?
Yeah.
Now, they take both parties to jail, the man and the woman.
Man, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it changed, but that's why, you can find out if she really wants help. You want help? Let's go to the police. Let them get involved. Once he get arrested, he gonna get some time for this.
Mm-hmm.
But if she doesn't want to do that, hey man, forget it. I can't help you because you're not trying to help yourself.
I gotta say, I wouldn't. I had this situation happen right in front of me. Actually, I mean, I had a chick get hit like 3 times right in front of me, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna tell you exactly how I responded. I saw it happen. Bap. She got hit. I said, "Yo, bro, it ain't even that serious. Chill out." Now, her homegirl was like, "Oh, Cupid, go whoop him. Go da." I was like, "No." I was like, "No, I'm not jumping into a fight with Buddy, because at the end of the day, if he tries to kill me for the situation, or if he tries to do something, and let's say I would have, for example, hurt him,
she would have probably
she could easily say he got involved for no reason." Yeah. So after that, I mean, it continued where he beat her again another time when I wasn't there.
And then
So
if you would have got involved, you could have had a forever lasting enemy.
exactly,
Wherever you go, you and him beefing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So in a sense, when it comes to women, man, especially in the history, I'm sorry, this might sound bad, but a lot of men die trying to save these women that don't want to be saved. the song goes, "Don't save her, she don't wanna be saved." You know what I'm saying? So
shout out to Project Pat.
so it comes into that. But I'm gonna let Gary Mitchell, Lover Boy, try to change it to
No.
Miss Maru. Let's see.
I'm not changing. See, remember, you asked me would I interject. I said yes.
Okay.
I didn't clear you. Then you asked
I
her.
wouldn't get physical.
Then you asked her a question, but then
I wouldn't be that shield. I wouldn't. If I was there, let's say if he came, and I would tell him straight out, "Yo, you don't want him at your house? Go tell him."
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell him straight out, go tell him. Now if he started trying to beat you down, I'll try to call 911, try to pull him off. I ain't gonna fight him.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna fight him.
Yeah, like when I said I interject, let me clarify because you know what this is what you do. You'll ask me a question, a yes or no question, and then you go ask everybody else an extended question, and I'm like, whoa, and it makes me look bad.
Nah, it made you look good.
No.
The girls want you around now.
No, but you see what happened? You see what happened? That's your fault, though. But because he asked me, I think he kind of asked me the same question, and I reworded his question for him to suit what I wanted to say.
Wow.
Women.
So deceptive.
This is
women.
I learned a very valuable lesson right now.
Nah, but clarify what
They
you were
will
saying.
change.
Clarify
You
what
don't change, girl. No, but what I was saying, because I've been in a situation, when I say interject, this happened actually recently. I want to say within the last 3 months. I was hanging out with some friends, and we were just playing volleyball. And this guy, like, I didn't know what it was, but in the parking lot, I heard like a loud sound, like a pop kind of thing. I didn't know what it was though. I thought it was, and I seen like a group of guys, and it was dark, so I didn't know who it was. I thought it was some guys fighting. I'm like, oh wow, okay, I don't really know the situation, so I'm watching. I didn't want to get involved right away, but I'm watching the situation. I hear it again, but this time I see like hair flying back. I'm like, no, that's a woman. So, then like the woman, she was trying to actually get away. She was walking. I heard him like cussing. He was actually speaking Spanish, like calling her all kinds of stuff, right? So at that point, I was like, nah, I'm not going to let this happen, right? So I actually went over there. I went to follow him. I actually ran after him. And I was like, yo. And he's like, he turned around. I'm like, hey, you need to get away from her. And then at that point, he's like, they always do this. Always do this. This is the third situation I've been in where I kind of jumped in like that. And they always like, no. See what happened? And they always try to justify the actions.
You tripping for running over there.
It's whatever. I'm not gonna like.
I don't think he's tripping for that.
You said that because he hit a date.
Yeah, thank you.
You said that because he hit a date and he get beat up.
Thank you.
No, but either way, I understand what could and couldn't happen. But I'm prepared to do that. But at the same time, I understand what could have happened to her. Yeah. I can't go home and be like, oh, see her on the news. Damn, I shouldn't. Just because I'm alive, I still have to live with myself. So I went over there, and then at that point, I didn't go and jump in his face, but I let him know that if he was continuing to put his hands on her, because he actually chased after her, he grabbed her arm, and he actually bruised her arm. I told him to let her go. I didn't put my hands on him right away, but I told him that, listen, because I had my friend call the police. So at that point, I'm not going to let somebody, when I'm seeing it happen, when I see somebody getting physically abused, I'm not going to let that happen. I've done that 3 times. But at the same time, if somebody comes to me and said like they're in a relationship they want to get out of, again, I'm going to interject when I say interject, I'm going to counsel her and tell her what she needs to do. And if she wants to go over there, get her clothes, I'll go with her and everything. But at the same time, like what you said, she has to be willing to leave. Because it's one thing, you can provide a safe haven, you can do all these different things, but if she doesn't want to leave, she's going to go back, then nothing you do works.
You know what, though, that's ironic you mentioned that, and I'm going to piggyback off of your point about politicians, right?
Ms. Maru.
Ms. Maru, I'm sorry. Here it is, you got to be socially aware of what you're doing now, because you run over there, your morals are right, but unfortunately, there are no morals in the law. No morals. So you run over there and you help. Now let's say, for instance, the dude get flipped with you, you defend yourself. Mm-hmm. Now the police might not take you to jail, but as we all know, the new come up is lawsuits. Yep. So let's say this guy he's a face model or whatever, and you beat him to a pulp and you hurt him. He can sue you.
Yeah, you're right.
And all from you helping her and now you have a civil lawsuit against you. And the state of Florida or the city of Miami, whatever city you in, is not going to pay that lawsuit for you.
I have no problem with that.
Oh man,
See,
I gotta side with him on that, with Gary on that.
It's a great thing that you do.
Yeah, we need people like
I call the cops. Nah, I ain't about that life. I ain't even gonna act like I'm about that life.
It depends.
I call the cops.
It depends. I mean, if I'm with you and I see you go, okay, I'll go with you. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna, but...
Oh, yeah.
But me going by myself...
But me going with them, be like, yo, you know we should call the cops.
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna call the cops while walking over.
I'm being honest.
The first thing
that's the first thing I did was call the cops.
The first thing and the only thing. I'm sorry, I'm gonna follow. I will follow, but I'm not gonna try to get involved.
Let me paint a picture for you. What if he has her pinned down to the ground and he's punching the hell out of her face? Like blows.
Once again,
blows,
I was there. I actually said something, and then I had to pull him. But fighting him or trying to I'm sorry, no.
Well,
because as soon as if you will start to be aggressive.
But interjection doesn't just mean you're gonna have to fight the dude.
No, I'm just saying I would literally try to pull him off and try to get people to help me. But to follow him and try to, I would not. I'm sorry. I would call the cops because it's too many situations where a woman is so much in love with a man where she'll be like, no, he wasn't doing that. This guy just came out of the blue and started hitting my boyfriend.
And I mean, if your main priority focus is the lady herself, if he's walking away and gone, let him go.
Of course.
She knows who he is.
Of course.
You know, so I mean, different situations you gotta handle. You know, in the spirit of that moment, it's a little bit of time.
I honestly don't think it's a black and white thing.
No.
At all.
It's not. Like I said, I mean, I understand. First thing, like I said, I called the cops, went after them, and like told them this. I called the cops and everything. I just wanted her to get away. Once she got away, it was like whatever. Yeah. But it's like, again, it's one thing if he hit her and then she walked away, and okay, at that point, I'm just gonna leave it be.
Yeah. And
then I call the police. But she actually tried to get away, and he's actually chasing after her after he already hit her loud 3 times. Nah. Because I mean, how long does it take for the police to come, and how long does it take for somebody to get hurt, seriously hurt?
I'll say this, and
depends on what neighborhood
you're in.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna say this, and I know it's gonna be an ignorant statement. Some people are gonna see it as an ignorant statement, but if she is hit twice, and I didn't see her hit back, no, I'm being completely serious. If she gets hit twice and she doesn't try to swing back, then in a lot of sense, that already registered me that, oh snap, I should not really get involved in this where she must be getting hit more often. In my mindset, that's what we'll go through. If I see pop, and then she just trying to walk off, and they know each other, I'm just being honest. I mean, a lot of people may hate me for this.
You know what?
But you know me, I push the limit. Period.
I agree to an extent. I do agree that when she doesn't get hit, that's because she's been hit before.
Right, that's the psychology aspect of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But,
so if she doesn't swing back to me, it comes into the point where
but does it mean, because I think this is where you're trying to go, does it mean then that, you know, just because she's used to getting hit, just because she's used to that abuse, and then, you know, one day he's going to kill her, and it's going to be like, well, she was already used to it anyway.
I'm saying that would show me not to be the aggressor at all, especially that. I would call the cops. But to actually
you would call the cops in any other situation anyway. But you're still not going to get in any situation anyway. Yeah, but
that's even more, to me, that's even more reason. If I see him pop, and she does not swing back, that's even more reason for me not to get it.
That's actually more reason to even do something, because that means that she's been doing this for so long that it may just go over the edge. That the last one, that's a straight, and then she's dead.
To me, if I see her swing back, that's when I'm like, oh, wait a second, meaning she don't want this to happen. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into it. Where I'll be like, yo, chill out. Da, 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 da.
Whoa.
Oh, you gotta
Cupid. You mean? Please, I want you to explain yourself, because you saying, if she doesn't hit back, that's the only way it means she doesn't want it to happen?
I said it would register in my head at the certain moment. I'll be like, oh, no, I'm not trying to get involved with that it must happen.
No, but you just said that if she's hitting back, then it's a sign that she doesn't want it to happen.
No, meaning she's trying to fight back. Because in my mindset, if she does hit back, she's trying to get out of that situation as hard as she can. And she has no way.
But what if you knock her like unconscious? She just standing.
Oh yeah, just like I said.
But if you can't see it though, she got her back to you, and she's like just straight delirious, just sitting there.
Oh, and she's out of there?
And you can't see it though.
Cops.
In your mind.
Cops and grab her. I'm sorry. I've seen too many. I've seen
I
too
agree.
many. The
I agree
only
from both
time
aspects.
I would ever get involved with a situation where a man is about to hit a woman is I know my homegirl is right here, and I know her, and I know she does not know this man. Now, if she knows this man, I'm be like, yo, do whatever you got to do. Let me call the cops. Let me stand firm in case he trying to do something. If it's my homegirl, once again, or my girl. Hell nah, my girl, you got me messed up.
My thing, I understand where you're coming from.
I ain't gonna be super safe about
But
it. Excuse my language.
But again, my thing is not about being aggressive towards him. Forget the guy. I don't care about him. My thing, my main and only priority is defending her. Now, what she wants to do with that is up to her. But for me, for my own character, for my own mindset, I have to protect her as much as I can. Whether it be to pull him off of her, whether it's to like get in his face until she gets away, to put in a cap, whatever it takes to get her out of the situation. That's the only thing I care about.
But you know what, too, though, to go on with that, Gary, is you got to look at it. In today's in the society we live in, it's not like what it was in the 40s and the 50s, to where when a man hit a woman, the whole community would react. Like you was looked down upon. You know what I'm saying? Now, these women have these ideas, and I hate to go here, but hey, it is what it is. You got these, what are they called? The dykes, I guess, who think they are actual boys, and they trying to fight these men.
I had that happen.
Or let's change it to another subject. You know what the new trend of abuse is now? The homosexual relationships have more cases, and that's a fact if you Google it. They have more leading cases of domestic violence within relationships. So here it is. We like what you do when you see two women fighting and one woman beating her down to a pole.
Well, let me ask you a question, because you make a very valid point. But
once again,
like you said, it's not like it was in the 40s and 50s. Now we're in the 2000s. Who changed it?
I mean, I think both sexes played a part.
Exactly. So because if it changed one time, can it not change back?
Yeah.
It can.
Yeah.
It can. But at the same time, though, you look at it. Women then weren't as shiesty as these young people, as most girls are now. Here it is, they setting dudes up to get robbed. You know?
I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure that existed a long time ago.
But I mean,
because with men and women, we have characteristics that are not just, this is just a new thing. This is a thing of the millennium, like of the new millennium.
But how many women was doing that back then compared to how many girls doing it now?
But we don't know that.
But
we don't know that.
But
though.
for the come up, look how many girls sell themselves short.
Well, yeah, but it's just that because we have media and because we have more tools where we can research that.
So are you saying that we should have more female role models to teach these young ladies their worth? Because the worth aspect of it was very essential back then in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It was very prevalent, and we can go back and look at movies or look at books that were written, and we can see that compared to now, where young girls don't know their worth until, 40 or 50? I mean, some of them are grandmas at 30 now. So, it's with the whole culture change, I still don't say it's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you have to pick your battles with getting involved, because you can lose your life over something as small as
Yeah, I understand that.
So it's hard to, the man in me, if I've seen it happen, honestly, I gotta go help. As much as I agree with you, Cupid, I'm gonna go help.
I feel you.
I can't watch it happen.
I don't feel you. I hear you. So, no, I'm being completely honest. I mean, a lot of people out there can say, Kelly, you're not being a man. Whatever. Hey, listen here. If you my homegirl, you're my sister, you're my mother, you're my girl, I got you. But, bruh, these dudes, it's just too many people die for girls that they don't know.
I got one for Gary. So you see two homosexual boys, one flamboyant, one masculine. And the flamboyant one is getting beat to a pulp. Do you run over and help?
Yes. It doesn't matter.
Does it change the fact that a human is a human?
But a boy's strength,
exactly.
A boy's strength and a woman's strength is two different things, though.
At the end of the day, nobody wakes up in the morning saying, "I want my ass whooped." There's nobody who wants to be in a relationship. Come on, man. There's nobody who is in a relationship who wants to be hurt mentally, physically, or emotionally by the person that they care about.
Do you run over?
But it's yeah, of course it does. I've done that before too. It does not matter to me. I don't really care who it is. If you are a male, you my brother. If you a woman, you my sister. And I'm going to defend you as much as I can. I'm not going to go over there and go running to throw blows, but we're going to talk. And if I see that you're getting beat down and you can't defend yourself against somebody who wants to hurt you, then I'm going to be your shield. That's it. I don't care what society says. That's Gary Mitchell.
So I'm curious. Wait. I'm curious. I'm just curious. So if you're in a club and you see two dudes fighting, and you see one getting his butt whooped, you gonna jump into?
When you say jump in, I will go
gonna
back to what I said. I'm saying there.
You're gonna go over there.
Yes,
and try to
I've done that. I've done that all my life.
Two dudes.
All my life.
I mean, we
elementary
went to
school
together.
Yes.
We didn't do that.
Yes, I did.
Homie, we stood there and watched them fight together.
No.
I'm just saying. I'm just being honest.
Listen.
In Edison Middle, we did stand there and watch them fight together. We literally said, "Damn, he getting his ass whooped." I'm just saying. So once you say you did that all your life, I don't know about that.
I've done that all my life.
Oh, I was there.
We were in the middle. There were situations where I did not get involved.
Okay,
but again, I was a kid. But still,
you say elementary, so
but I have done elementary school. But again, like there are. Put it this way, most of the times I've been hit by getting in the middle of two people. I've caught blows to the face or whatever. It doesn't matter because anything can happen. That's the problem. There's too many people standing by and watching things happen. It happens all the damn time, and it pisses me off.
But what do you get? But that's what I'm saying though. It's hard to say what do you get involved in. And like for instance, if I saw two dudes fighting,
what you really getting involved in?
If I saw two dudes fighting, I'm gonna be honest, my homeboys, they go for them too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let them fight enough to when one is getting beat up enough. Okay, I'm coming. That's it.
Yeah.
It's done. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna let one get serious because you got some dudes. You know, I had two homeboys, they fighting, and I jump in, he getting beat up. He like, man, I was just about to get him. What? so now, hey, I let it go 2 or 3 minutes, and so you can't say, hey man, it's over. But I mean, you no matter what their sexual preferences are, and you say, you know, that's the problem. People sit down and they don't do enough. But then again, it has to be something. Hey, I'm passionate about changing the world and people's aspect on life, right? I mean, do I care if somebody get beat up? I do, but I'm not gonna risk my life. You know what I'm saying? To that degree, I'm gonna think first now. Now that I'm older, hold on, am I really want to get involved in this?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's. Hey, I applaud you on that, kid.
Because
if we in the same room together. I know who's gonna go there. I ain't gotta go. I'm gonna call the police.
You feel me? You can't go over there. I got you 911. I got you.
We all got rules to play.
I got you.
Exactly.
But nah, I know. No, don't come at me with that. But ladies and gentlemen, we're here once again. Chasing Keeping It Poetry live in effect. Feel free to call in. Our number is 347-637-2029. Once again, 347-637-2029. Chasing Keeping It Poetry. We got the poet Bird. What is
Rebel.
The Rebel. No, but I thought it was a middle part. You said something.
No, it's Bird Sanders. Bird Sanders the Rebel.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Bird Sanders, the Rebel. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're here with us. Chasing Keeping It Poetry. We'll be right back. We got deep in the conversation. Chasing Keeping It Poetry back in effect once again. We're here. Man, let me say this. There was an argument with me during break. I'm a snitch. I don't care. They were arguing with me during break. I said, if she don't fight back, I ain't gonna help. That's what I said. So I ain't scared to say it on the mic. It don't matter. I will say that.
Hey, whatever works for you.
But once
I'm
again,
not gonna judge you.
we're talking about abusive relationships, and one thing we need to touch on, which is big, is I'm not trying to make men the big time aggressors because some women are aggressive, but we gotta call it. Go ahead.
You love me, Chase Keeping It Poetry. What's your name? Hello? Okay, try this again.
When it comes to controlling men. Controlling men?
Oh, right.
Did I say it wrong?
No, I don't know.
I
thought it was...
She quick! Did you just notice that?
No, I was actually asking. I
She was ready to check me.
No, I was not going to check you.
She was ready to check me. Ladies and gentlemen, did you hear that?
I
said the exact same thing she just said.
That's right, she's scared.
And she was ready. She
I
was ready to check me. Golly.
Gary's trying to get me back.
That's right.
As soon as I just started.
No, I was actually asking you.
So what's your thoughts on controlling men? Per se, Miss Marulis. I want to hear a woman's opinion.
I've been there. I'm not gonna go into much detail, but my first relationship ever was an abusive relationship, He was my first boyfriend, my first even kiss. You know, I was pretty young. I was 14 years old, and he was 18. I was a freshman. He was a senior. And it probably took about, I want to say I want to say like 6 months. Um, after he tried to pursue me for me to actually say yes, we can be boyfriend girlfriend. Um, he was very jealous. He manipulated my thoughts. I was very young. I was very naive. I never saw any abuse in my family. However, my dad is actually like pro women, and my mother is a very strong woman, and I never witnessed any of that in the home, like anywhere. I never saw that before. He was not physically abusive. He was psychologically abusive. Um, Emotionally abusive, somewhat sexually abusive, but it wasn't like he didn't hurt me physically per se. And we were together for 2.5 years, and I felt very worthless. My self esteem went like it shot down like completely. You know, I remember he tried manipulating me in so many ways. Like it got to the point where he made me like despise my family. Not I don't want to say hate, but yeah, kind of. I had like suicidal thoughts at that time. I was only like between 14 and 16 and a half. So it was he turned a lot of my friends against me. Like it was as I got older, I realized like, oh my god, like I was in an I never thought that I was really in an abusive relationship. Once I was able to get rid of him, I had another boyfriend, and I never had like I wasn't traumatized. I wasn't like I didn't feel like this next person is gonna do it to me. To me, it was like a clean slate, a new person, and so I think I'm lucky because I had that mentality. Because a lot of women don't do that. They carry that baggage,
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't, and it wasn't until I want to say about 3 years ago when I realized that I was in an abusive relationship because I never considered it, even though all the signs were there, everything was there. He would tell me very inappropriate things, like like he would tell me like certain things that oh sometimes he would he was older. I never had a computer until I was like out of high school. He had a computer and he used to go on AOL or AIM or whatever it was on the chat room, and I would call him like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just here online, having cyber sex with this chick, stuff like that. And so it would make me feel like kind of like unworthy or whatever. And like that was just like very minimal of the stuff that would go on. Um, by the time I was a junior, like beginning junior, I tried to get away from him because I realized like it was getting kind of dangerous, and he wouldn't allow it. He would come stalk me. He would stalk me at school. He would stalk me after school. When I'd get off the bus, he would come after, like, he would come in and he was already, like, sitting at the doorstep, like, at the staircase of my building. He was already waiting for me there. Sometimes, like, I would, like, come home from school, and, all right, so I skipped school a couple of times, well, a lot of times, throughout my whole high school. But sometimes, when I was in that phase where I was trying to, separate from him, and sometimes I skipped school, and I would go home, and he would like try to like literally physically check me to see if I was with a dude, like kind of like put your pants down, and I wouldn't allow it though. But it got to that extent. Between that, we had an occurrence with the cops, where he tried to play the savior. When I had skipped or whatever, and he called my mother at work and like, oh, I'm really worried about your daughter. I heard that, some dude just came to pick her up and all these, making up stories and wanting to be like the guy, like the hero. My parents never liked him. They never knew anything that happened like that. I hope nobody's listening. Well, whatever. But so it kind of it got the cops involved, and then like my brother hated him, and now all of a sudden he's like, oh, I guess you're a cool dude type of thing. So he tried to get back into my life, and the last time I ever saw him, while I was in high school, because I saw him later on in life. The last time I saw him, he came to the school in the morning, and he was like, oh, we need to talk, and he tried to grab me by the arm and take me to his car so we can leave, and I was like, we have nothing to talk about, whatever. We were in front of the school, and some of my one or two guy friends were somewhere around there, and I was like, we have nothing to talk about. If you want to talk, we can talk right here. And he's like, no, I want to talk in private. And I said, all right. And I go to my friend, let's call him John, whatever. I said, John, hold my book bag. And he's like, no, you taking that with you. And I said, why? We're not going nowhere. We're just going to talk in your car. He's like, no, you taking that shit with you. And I was like, no, then I'm not going anywhere with you. And then he grabbed I hadn't given the bag to my friend yet. So he grabbed the bag from me. And, I tried to get it back. And this is like a tall, big dude. Like, he was very, very husky. And I'm like this tiny little thing. And I remember trying to get my book bag, and like I was kind of like playing tug of war with my book bag, and he wouldn't let it go. And I remember like I was biting his arm, like his hand, like where he was holding it. I was biting his arm, and he wouldn't let it go. And so then I ended up like kicking him, and he wouldn't let it go. So I had to like punch him in the face. And at that point, I was scared because I didn't know if he was going to hit me back. And in one blow from him, I would have been done for like my life. And because he had like his fist like that, and then as soon as I punched him in the face, my friend came and he got in between, and
That's what I'm saying.
And he got in between, and then the guy, he was like, it was the first time though that he ever called me out of my name.
Yeah.
Because he never like called me a B or a hoe or anything like that ever. And then he said something about like, oh, you effing, B and da da da. And then I was like, oh, F you, whatever. And then that was it. And that was the last time I saw him like in years. And then I saw him again, afterwards and whatever. But
I'm glad you got out of that situation. We got a caller, but we got a caller, but let me say, see, that was an example. She fought.
You laugh with Chasing Keeping It Poetry. What's your name?
Maru.
well, I'll say this again. We lasted for 2 years and a half. And I want to say that within, even before the first year, it was very slow and very progressive the way that he showed the symptoms. And he always used he always used manipulation. Oh, if you don't love, if you love me, then this and that. Now mind you, I was a 14-year-old girl. Yeah, I was a 14-year. Well, you know what? In every case, is different. Um, I feel that for me, it was too long, but some people it doesn't last long. Some others, it depends on your character, and it depends on, it depends on a lot of things. Yeah. Well, even more so because it has been that long. She's already programmed in her mind, and it's not that she doesn't love herself enough. Because I think we all love ourselves, and sometimes we deal with low self esteem or depression, but it doesn't mean that we don't love ourselves. We all do. But the problem here is that this is a 10-year of psychological abuse, and it's very hard to revert that. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom for the person to want to make a change. The only thing that I can suggest that you can possibly do is look up information, give her the resources of where to go to get the help when she's ready to get it. Because there's nothing that you can do or say that is going to convince her to get out of that situation. All you can do is provide her with the resources, and whether, maybe you want to give her some articles of situations of women in her situation and how they've gotten out. And again, the resources, leave them at her disposal. So, I'm sorry, at her, what do you call that? Disposal?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when and if she's ready, then she's gonna use that. She's gonna look for that, or look for you and take those steps necessary. But at this point, there's not much you can do.
Let me,
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Thank you.
You know what Janet it is? Janet?
Janet.
Janet. You know what? Just listening to you speak right now, you are her biggest confidant right now. Like the best thing you can do in this situation is what you're continue to doing is loving, continue to show her love, and support her despite the fact because you can't save them all, but at the end of the day, your message will finally get through. And the fact that you're probably the only one who she could depend on. So if you stop saying the same thing to you, it may feel like a redundant thing that's keep occurring, but eventually it's going to get through. And if you stop giving her that courage and being her support system, she'll then completely give up. So as long as you do your job from the outside, because you can't physically take her from that situation, you know. But trust me, she's listening to you. But it's just something about when a man says something, he has that way of getting to her, you know. But I promise you, everything you said, it's apparent that you know your worth, and the fact that you're able to to counsel other women via those who are listening to the show now, or just give advice to other women on this aspect, it's definitely going to make a change. So I applaud you. Not only that, I commend you. And I just ask that you continue to be those kind words to her. Because at the end of the day, love conquers all.
All right. Thank you so much, and just keep going. Keep listening and to Chase Keeping It Poetry.
Thank you. Good night.
Don't tell her good night. We don't want her to go to sleep.
It's a form of saying
I'm
goodbye.
just kidding. Hey, got another caller.
You're live with Chasing Keeping It Poetry. What's your name? Elisa. How you doing, Elisa? We're talking about how to recognize and handle abusive relationships. Do you have anything you would like to share about the topic?
She cut off?
I don't know. Lisa, are you still there?
No, go
Yeah,
ahead.
you were breaking up a little bit, but go ahead. We can hear you now.
And I wanna thank you one for being strong enough and being wise and just being the woman you are for getting out of the situation. And I applaud you for doing so. You did a great job and you realized what was needed to get out of the situation. And I'm really happy that you did. And I want to thank you too. I want to thank you too for listening to Chase Keeping the Poetry. You know what I'm saying? So keep listening. But seriously though, thank you for the advice that you've given a lot of women that need that empowerment. Have a good night. Ladies ladies and gentlemen, we gotta go to break. Before we go to break, something that a lot of people don't realize, it's actually just like I said earlier in the show, it's a cycle. It's the honeymoon phase, it's the tension phase, and then it's the explosion phase. This is not something I'm making up. Luckily I graduated in psychology. I am not a therapist, but that is actually a proven cycle. There is a honeymoon phase where everything is fine, a tension phase where insults, shoving, and then there's the explosion phase. The reason why a lot of people don't get out of it is because the honeymoon phase comes back. So that's basically the role of it. It's just a cycle. Um, Hopefully, Gary, can you put that on the website just to add that?
I actually already put some information up on our Facebook pages, and I'm going to put up on the website later on. There's information for the National Domestic Abuse Hotline, and I also posted some steps for anyone who is going through an abusive relationship, or if you know someone. There are steps to get out. Some of those include giving a friend or family member some extra money to hold on for you, getting an extra set of car keys, packing away a bag in case you have to get away immediately, and some seriously, yeah, don't get me started with that. But that's just to name a few things. So please visit www.chasingcupidandpoetry.com and visit our Facebook pages, and that information will be there.
Please put the cycle on there.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't. A lot of women can't really see it until they actually see that diagram.
Yeah, it's
and it explains it. But ladies and gentlemen, we got Bird here, and we got Miss Madu. Honestly, to be honest with y'all, I want to hear y'all go at it with the poems. since you've been going at them, I hope you can spit. I'm just saying. I'm gonna tell you to go first when we come back.
Might have to take Bird's side on this.
So before we go then, since I'm just gonna go straight into a poem, can I just give some information real quick?
Go ahead.
There's one foundation that I'm familiar with, which I volunteered 2 years ago, and it's called the Safe Space Foundation, and it's in Miami. I don't know that they really give out their address like that because it's a shelter for
abused women.
For abused women and their children, if they have any, and it's a shelter which they educate, they do workshops and programs on how to build up their self-esteem, interpersonal skills, and they also help with job placements in case they were unemployed when they were in the relationship. They help them find a place to live eventually, and also so it's safe space. So it's safe space.
Ain't nobody paying for commercials yet. I can tell them wait in line.
It's safespacefoundation.org, and another very important one, which is Women in Distress. And this is a very, very, very it's one of the only accredited state and nationwide accredited programs. Women in Distress. It's womenindistress.org, and hopefully we can have those also on our website on www.chasingcupidandpoetry.com.
Absolutely.
Don't worry.
Is that where you were?
No, I'm chasing you. Don't worry.
Oh.
No. So
I gotta run too fast. I got you.
those websites will be up: safespacefoundation.org and womenindistress.org.
Absolutely. Oh, you know what? Actually, I just kind of want to remind people once again that we will be at Swirl, Sip, and Savor in Miami. It's a business networking event. So anyone who does want an opportunity to connect with some other people as well as connect with the Chasing Cupid and Poetry Show, we will be there Tuesday, April 15th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at 725 Northeast 79th Street, Miami, Florida, 33138. That information can be found on our website, www.chasingcupidandpoetry.com. As well as if you do want to help out others, we will provide outreach. You can visit our same website and click the link and donate whatever you can. That money will be used will be put to good use. And as well as if you do have an outreach program and you would like for us to broadcast that program, please give us a call, or you can email us on our website. There's a contact information page. I encourage you to send us your information, and we will do whatever we can to put that on air.
One that we didn't say was Women in Distress. Just to add in, there's a place called Women in Distress. Oh, you did?
Yeah, Women in Distress.
And when we come back, Bird. When we come back from break, we're gonna come back with our final thoughts. But Bird, I'm gonna challenge you because she's been getting on you. And I know you got a poem about this certain topic, something that's hitting the society's thoughts. I mean, she's gonna hit you hard. You ready, Miss Maru?
We'll see.
Oh, once again, you're listening to us, Chasing Cupid and Poetry, live in effect. Tonight, once again, we're trying to put in a dent in society's thoughts. We'll be back. Chasing Cupid and Poetry, live in effect. Once again, we're talking about abusive relationships. Good song. That was a good movie. Purple Rain. Purple Rain, Enough. It's a lot of movies about it. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about a topic that a lot of people struggle with nowadays. And I mean, back then, abusive relationships, how do you handle it? Is there a way out, basically? First and foremost, we want to thank Bird for coming through.
Appreciate it.
And actually putting some wisdom, on Maru, I'm just saying. I just say that, but Bird, tell me, one thing, what's your final thoughts on this topic? What's something you want to let people know in your mindset on this?
It's not about what you've been through. It's about how you come out of it. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody goes through storms. But it's about how you dry yourself off afterwards. And, the main part about it is you got to remember, everybody has a testimony. But you can't spell testimony without a test. So, that there alone is your test. And you got to understand, if you don't have respect for yourself, a man, woman, or a child won't respect you. Because remember, if he'll yell at you, he'll get in here and hit you. And if he'll hit you, he'll damn sure do it again. But if you stop him with him yelling at you, he'll know, okay, hold on, wait. You know what I'm saying? So you got to believe in yourself. And if you've been a victim, it's about time you lay it to rest and be like, you know what? My story somebody else needs to hear. I'm better than what I was before because I'm here now. So it's unfortunate. It's a perpetual cycle that's going to always continue. But we can save 1, 2, or 3 a day by letting somebody know what not to do instead of always talking about what I've been through. So, I'll just leave you with, if anything, man, talk to somebody. Because the more you hold it in and suppress it, the more you may end up hurting that person. And we all know Fire fought with fire, man. You get ashes. So,
let me say this. I don't know if it's a song or his words. I felt chills and tears want to come out my eyes. I don't know if maybe it's the melody background. But tell me something. Where can they find you? Like, how can they follow you? What's your next show?
You know what the crazy thing is? I perform anywhere. I don't charge for features because I believe you give me the opportunity to do something that I love to do. If it's not no grant money you paying me with, I can't charge you. I even pay for myself to get there. But you can find me on, Bird the Rebel on IG, Instagram, Bird the Rebel on Twitter, Bird Sanders on Facebook. And I always put up something every day. I try to put up something that goes on within people's lives. And I try to talk for those who can't talk, or who are afraid to talk or can't say the right words. But you can find me, man. I'm here. And if you see me, I promise you, I'll talk to you and listen to you. I'm as real as they come, man.
Dang. Bird, the Rebel.
So what's your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of those social media?
He said it.
Bird the Rebel.
Oh, he did. Bird the Rebel on everything.
Bird the Rebel on Instagram,
on everything.
Twitter, and Bird Sanders on Facebook.
That boy real, boy.
Yeah, and also, I got my organization called BLACK. The acronym is BLACC, and it stands for Building Leaders Around a Civilized Community. And what we do is we fight the injustice laws within the justice system. You know what I'm saying? And we do a lot of things within the community as far as educating not just the black culture, but all minorities, because we all have the same blood if you cut us. So at the end of the day, we do a lot of different things. Like, I feed the homeless every month, the same time, the same day, the same spot. You find me on Facebook, I promise you. And now I'm doing a shoe drive, to give away to people. And, I do clothing drives. It just don't matter anything, I have to give, let's give. So if you down for it and you looking to do something instrumental, and y'all be on the lookout, man. We're doing 100-man Black Silent March. I promise you it's going to be monumental. 100 men black. And that's not meaning black as far as your color of your skin. It means as far as what we're wearing. Keep a lookout on it, man. I'm telling you, it's going to be monumental, man.
Like, none of y'all feel the chills? No, yeah. Like, for real.
I got a sweater on.
Like, nah.
I'm kidding.
Once again, Bird, we want to thank you for coming in, man.
No, I appreciate it.
I'm still going to hold you up to the poem.
Oh, man, it's easy.
She knows. He knows he's done. He got it. So, Ms. Maru, you want to close out with your closing statements, and then we can come back with the poem.
I don't even want to go after him, though. I'm like, can I just say, everybody, be strong? That's it. Just be strong. No. Speaking from experience, for somebody who's experienced some kind of abuse in a relationship, actually several kinds of abuse, at a very young age, and I am very thankful that I didn't give up, even when I felt like I wanted to, and I didn't carry that forward. I feel that it is very important that we acknowledge the signs. I believe one of the ladies that called in, she did give those signs, and I feel that as those of us who are friends and family members of those who are being abused, we gotta listen, no judgment, provide the resource, provide the backbone. But if the person doesn't want to be helped, then we just have to allow them to grow in their trial, because there's not much that we can possibly do at that point. And again, just stay strong. So that's how I'm ending.
Blog Talk Radio.
It's crazy. A lot of situations happen like that, and I want to thank you, Ms. Maru, for making it through that, because I'm happy you're here.
Cool.
Definitely.
Thank you.
It feels good to look in the eyes every time I look over the mic. I ain't flirting. Listen, I don't want my girl to hit me up talking about, you flirting. So we're gonna go into Loverboy Gary Mitchell. What's your thoughts? You know what? Let me ask you a question, Gary Mitchell. You want to get into this poetry war right after this?
I'm good.
Oh! He waved the white flag right now. But it's cool. Let us know what's your thoughts about this topic.
I mean, what a lot of people don't really understand is that we're a society where there's a lot of followers here, as Bird said previously in the show, and what we see is what we usually imitate. And what a lot of people don't understand is that 6 million children as according to the U.S. Census Bureau, as of June 28, 2013, 6 million children have witnessed domestic violence. That means that out of those 6 million children, those are a bunch of women who are going to grow up knowing that it's okay for men to hit women. There's going to be a lot of boys growing up thinking it's okay to hit women because that's the way it is. And at the same time, it's going to be a lot of boys who are going to think it's okay to be hit by women and vice versa. I feel like everyone has to be a leader amongst themselves. And I always say this, if you don't stand for anything, then you'll fall for whatever. So as far as like, if I see someone who needs help, then I'm going to reach out to them in any possible way that I can. And I encourage everyone else to do the same. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to raise your fist, but sometimes you can use your voice. So once again, visit www.chasingcupidandpoetry.com because we do have information out there for anyone who is going through a situation that they can seek help. And if you know someone who is going through a situation, then there is research out there that you can give to them. So, you know, we can't take things lightly. We're all human beings, and we all deserve to be loved, and we all deserve to be respected. So, you know, don't take domestic violence, don't take the emotional aspect of it or the verbal aspect of it as something that's just happens that we can't change it. We can change anything that we want as long as we have the willpower and the motivation to do so. There's no excuse for that.
I have the words from Loverboy Gary Mitchell. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to us, Chasing Cupid and Poetry, live in effect, trying to put an indent in society's thoughts. Feel free to check us out at www.chasingcupidandpoetry.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, always live. If you want to check out our old shows, go to Facebook. Go to chasingcupidandpoetry.com, go to media, scroll down, and you'll see our old shows. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just close out by saying this. The biggest thing is that I go by is fight. But when it comes to domestic relationships, I continuously add on fight, learn, and lead. It's a cycle. Unless you try to break out of that cycle, ladies, break out of that cycle, man. Know your worth. Understand that you're worth more than a punch. You're worth more than a degraded comment in your way. Men also, don't let yourself be diminished. Your image, your mind, the way you see yourself. Don't let someone diminish that. Because your own value on your own self is what's important. That's what's going to drive you through life. So I would tell you, through those hard times where it's honeymoon, tension, and then explosion, that's a cycle. It's continuously a cycle. Break out of it. You can get out of it. And for those people that have those friends that do come to you for support, maybe you don't want to get involved. Maybe you don't want to fight. Maybe you don't want to put your life on the line. But be that ear. Be that significant person to actually just listen. Because that you listening can be a safe haven for them. Even though they don't stay at your house, you're just lending them an ear. It's something big. I know I can't get as deep as Bird, but I just say, Chase Cupid and Poetry, live in effect. Now, we're going to get into the poem battle. Since Miss Maru is kind of fearful, I'm going to let her go first. Oh, she's fearful. My bad. Once again, let me say this. Ladies and gentlemen, we want you to tune in. Once again, Monday through Fridays. Chasing Cupid Poetry live in effect. 9 to 12. 11 o'clock, Gary Mitchell takes over with his love mix. So let's get into it. Miss Maru, you ready?
Yeah, I was born ready.
All right.
All right, so just in case you don't know, Bird, this is the ritual. Whenever I recite my poetry on the radio, I don't like people looking at me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just close your eyes and just hear my voice. It ain't too bad. Funny enough, this is actually called Enough. This piece is called Enough.
I never saw that movie. I never wanted to see it.
It's a great movie.
I remember watching it.
It's a great. It's an empowering movie.
It has a good message. I thought it was a little weak, just like in the dialogue. You know, the acting.
She didn't know how to act back then.
I'm sorry. I'll stick with Angela Bassett and what's love got to do with it.
All right.
Maru, ladies and gentlemen.
around me and ignore. The many times I pleaded you to stay near, I cannot count with hands alone. You deserted me at a time when I needed you most. At a point in my life when others turned their backs on me, you neglected our relationship. You are the reason I am here. But you are the reason I want to disappear, to crawl into a cave and have it come crumbling down, bearing whatever self-respect I have left. That's how you made me feel. I tried relentlessly to seek your attention, but my obsession just led me to this. So now let me introduce you to my best friend, companion, and confidant, Mr. Alcohol. He helps me drown my sorrows when you drown my dignity deeper than the depths of an empty well. And he listens to me when you shut me out like a deadly spell. See, he comforts me when you beat me beyond recognition, as if I was your enemy. I laugh now because I realize how much of a pathetic fool I've been. I am, but I can't be anymore. I was making an effort to understand your mind frame, to analyze myself and question my wrongdoing. You know, the self-blame game. But I'm a woman. I'm beautiful, smart, and witty. Is that it? Do you feel threatened by my beauty? So why must you treat me this way? Is it my fault your mother left you home when you were just a boy because your daddy was a deadbeat? Is it my fault you had no male figure to figure out how to treat the opposite sex? Is it my fault you vex anytime someone takes control and you feel coerced to listen? On the dirty linens you effed me, there was no love. You used me as your toy and abused me with joy because you pictured your mother. You're sick. But I'm sicker because I stuck around for years hoping to fix the mistakes I never committed. I give you chance after chance hoping you'd realize I'm not like the others who faded from your life. I should have been treated like a gem, but you condemned me for being a woman. You relieved your childhood anger upon my soul. You destroyed my heart and pushed me to the edge, but I needed to find an outlet. And alcohol became more than that. It became the devil. And as I drank, I thought I was a rebel fighting for a real cause. And after months of broken jaws and years of mental cruelty, I began to believe I was guilty. But guilty for what? For loving you unconditionally even when you mistreated me? For foolishly thinking my mind, body, and soul were bulletproof? For taking hit after hit, hoping my pain you'd eventually soothe? You needed me more than you ever knew. But your punk ass needs praying now more than anything else. And I can't even come through for you this time because I'm too busy praying for myself. Thank you.
All the time.
All right.
Yeah.
Ooh, I get the applause.
All right.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
That was nice.
Fantastic.
I really felt that.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
I still love you, Maru.
I got an email saying that was deep.
Oh, yeah?
And they spelled it with a couple of E's.
Thank you.
We're going to
Appreciate
get
that.
the floor to Bird. What's up?
I'm looking forward to this.
Here we go, Bird.
So, before I always start, I go in with my intro. I'm going to keep it PG. See, I ain't choose it. It chose me. Mother effing poetry. Now, let's talk about this scenario, right? This freestyle. Let's talk about this scenario, right? Most times in life, women, they get the shorter end of the stick. But I'm going to put a twist on this. See, before we play the blame game, you got to talk about that dude you chose. About that dude that you decided to choose. See, it was all cool because he was the local neighborhood dude who everybody wanted. So let's call him Bad News. But why do you think he got the name Bad News? He whispered sweet nothings into your ear, and he was told you, sweetheart, honey, I'm going to take you to the moon. And you were so blinded by the prelude that you was so caught up with the sexual tension that you forgot the second step was the tension, and then boom. You were utterly paying attention to the corrosion, and then there was the explosion. See what I just did there? Honeymoon, tension, explosion. I mean, go to Cupid's website, pay attention to the diagram of the 3 steps, or you may not be able to speak from your diaphragm. So let's get into the poem, right? If you be quiet, you can hear her heart speak through her heart's beat. you would understand that she's a victim of domestic violence. Stay getting beat like a drummer who beats his snare drum at a Baptist church convention during a praise break. Imagine that beat. Her silhouette frame wants phrases like, she can get it. Not knowing when she gets home, she really gets it. Gets it because another man tells him to shut up and he ain't do nothing. But if she says too much, all of a sudden he's macho man tough. And she gets it because he threw the remote at her and she missed it. So if you add an H in front of it, you will get it. She really gets hit. There's not enough MAC NC-37 to cover up the black around her eye. Not enough fake eyelashes to cover up the bruises above her eyebrow. Her whole foundation of her face is Maybelline. She keeps it on deck because at any given time he chooses to swing, she may be lean. But yet, her interior beauty was that of the magnitude of Lauryn Hill's Miseducation album. Magnificent. Or the sweet melodies and harmonies of the old Whitney Houston's voice. Simply beautiful. Yet, she was an unattended to flowers, surrounded by roses in a beautiful nurtured garden where she was unable to fit. There was no guidance to this social misfit, yet her interior characteristics were 36, 26, 36. But they went unnoticed because we all know personality has no measurements. Blinded by the prelude, we all judge books by their cover, so therefore exterior beauty is why most commit. See, Ma, I understand why you don't believe in Valentine's. Because of that one incident I walked in upon that one time where you were singing off-key, passionately with your hand in the air and your fingers curled into a fist while pumping your hands singing, one man can make one woman hate all men. And see, sperm donor, that was the moment I realized I hated you. Because out of all the lies you ever told her, my favorite was I love you. See, you were a poet and you didn't even know it. Your stage name could have been a love hustler. They say you my daddy, but the way you screwed her, I prefer my mother's fucker. Pardon me on that.
No, keep going.
I prefer my mother's, But there was times where she wanted to grab the gun and take action, but fire fought with fire. She knew that all she'll get is ashes. So she took the high step and left you. But you beat her down so much so with verbal abuse, because remember, you ain't got to throw a blow to hurt a person's heart. You can say some things that'll leave them forever scarred. The same one who picked you up when them niggas in the street made your pride and ego fall. Yeah, see, you were the man, but she was the one standing in front of you saying, F all y'all. So yeah, you had the penis, but she had the balls. The same one who would never, ever call you out of your name. The same one who felt your pain even though you never talked. See, you got to remember, the domestic violence doesn't mean that you have to stay there because of the kids. Sweetheart, you got to live for your kids. And if you want your kids to never endure what you did, you got to leave. You got to cut yourself and make yourself bleed just to know that you still in control over your body. Because remember, there's nothing wrong with loving you, doing you, groom you. See, the only time a man should ever raise his hand at you is when he's moving your hair out your face to tell you you're beautiful. Because you're beautiful. The rebel. Appreciate y'all.
Damn, get out of
That was amazing.
Oh my God.
I love your intro too. That little freestyle piece. I heard you making that connection.
Yeah.
That was dope.
Oh my. I just said that. Hey, first, like literally, man, that was.
Appreciate it, man.
You guys, that's skills. I mean, I'm be honest. I've heard a lot of poets come on here, but to able to be just freestyle straight on the spot, and then also your poem hit with so much emotion, bruh. I think I put them on top right now. I gotta put them on top right now.
Who's on the bottom?
I don't know. It's between you and Big Boss.
Whoa.
Big Boss.
Whoa.
I gotta find that one out. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to us, Chase Keep It in Poetry. And once again, we want to thank you again, Bird the Rebel, for coming out, man, and really blessing the mic with your words, man. We might have to come back and get you for our intro song or something.
Man, I appreciate it. Also, before I leave, one little
go ahead.
Hey, man, if y'all not doing nothing April the 5th, if you got the time, go ahead on and support the autism walk, man. I promise you it'll change your life. You know, there's nothing wrong with kids with special needs. I promise you. They only need is that they're special, and it takes a special individual to deal with them. So I promise you, man, if y'all ain't got nothing to do, man, get involved with the autism chapter and just get to know some of these kids. I promise you it'll change your life. I promise you on everything, man. August the 5th, the autism walk. You know, I got a son who's on the spectrum, but the love aspect between me and his mother, man, we putting this puzzle together. I promise you, man, we're doing that.
Yeah, put that on the side.
Yeah, you know what? Before we go, I did want to mention one thing. For all those women who are familiar with the Mary Kay Foundation, they actually do have a hotline, and that information will be on our website as well.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you're tuning in to Chase and Keep It in Poetry. We will be back tomorrow, live in effect at 9 o'clock, 9 p.m., and closing out at 11, where Gary takes over with his love mix. Then he takes over. He's going to take over now. We kind of went in deep tonight. But you got it, Gary. I know you still got it. Once again, Chase and Keep It in Poetry. Once again, Chase and Keep It in Poetry, live in effect. And tonight, we really are trying to make an indent in society's thoughts.